Hello and welcome everybody, it's me Sirax, and in this Hearthstone Battlegrounds video we'll cover up the Mech tribe. So what is the Mech tribe about? Before we had the Murloc tribe, it was lots of small minions that you buff up to the very later stages of the game and then try to win with it. Mechs are the death rattle section here, and I would say they are more death rattle than the beasts, even though the beasts also have lots of death rattle mechanics. So this tribe is about getting a few specific cards to really steamroll. Steamroll with a Mech. Sorry, couldn't deny that word pun. And basically, it's about surviving with lots of minions that just appear, or just a lot of effects that appear when this minion dies. So the only thing that I'm really happy about here for the vitality of the game is that Spider Bomb from Dr. Boom's expansion is not in this set, because otherwise I think it would be like, whoa, great, I can also go AFK and let you chill. But it's not in here. So let's cover up almost the same as with as the last time. We'll first take a look at the minions themselves as a percentage chance of getting a Mech tribe card at the specific tier. And then we'll try to look at the combos, the synergies that we really want to have when we want to stick with the Mech tribe. Okay, so let's get right into this. Very important to note here is on tier 1 we only have 2 out of 12 minions, the Micro Machine and the Mecharoo, which equals a chance average of 16.67% of getting a Mech on tier 1. So at the start of game, you could say the chances are about 4 times 15 makes it roundabout the thing, is 60% chance. So basically a bit more than 50%, 10% more than 50%, something like that. It's 16.6, so it's a bit more like roundabout 65%. Yeah, not that good. Plus, these don't have too many synergies. I mean, the Mecharoo just death rattle summon a 1/1 Joey bot, also a Mech, and the Micro Machine. Yeah, the Micro Machine sticks up infinitely, but the 2 health points make it not that great. Okay, so the real killer is in terms of value tier 2. You see so many mechs here. This is 8 minions out of 16 minions, which means 50% chance that a card will be a Mech. And if you combine this, you have 12 plus 16 is 28, and then you have 10 out of 28 cards to be a Mech if you go for tier 2, which is basically a guarantee, that you get a Mech when you have tier 2. Okay, so what are the interesting cards here in tier 2? They basically define how you want to go with the Mech tribe. So a Neutron is basically, you can say, a very good version of the Righteous Protector that we just saw, because not only has it Taunt and Divine Shield, it has 1 health point more, and you can stick with it. There are minions later that have magnetic synergies, and you can just stick them up to the Neutron or any other Mech. Harvest Golem is something like you want to have this early to survive a bit, because this is basically 4 damage divided on 2 attacks. If the Harvest Golem doesn't die on first hit, it is 3 attacks on it is 6 damage separated to 3 attacks. Ha! Kaboom Bot is also a defensive option for you to survive to the later stages of the game, because it's 2 damage and then it's 4 damage, which I think at the earlier stages is very, very good, because you see the health points of the minions and you see, yeah, it's very unlikely that that a minion can survive 6 damage or 4 damage and then kill another thing without dying. Yeah, Metal Tooth Leaper is interesting because it gives all of your other mechs +2 attacks. It's, you could say, a better version of Murloc War Leader, because the buff is permanent and not tied to the Metal Tooth Leaper to survive. You can basically just buy him, set the battle cry, and then just sell the card for itself and get it another interesting one. Yeah, Amalgam goes good with everything. Pogo Hopper is your early game option to steamroll into the end. I mean, Pogo Hopper is +2/+2 for each other Pogo Hopper you played this game. This card goes super good even if you don't have the Mech tribe. Even if you don't want to go with the Mech tribe, Pogo Hopper is something like you can go with this all of the time. The only point is, if you have tier 2, it is 1 card out of 28 cards, which is less than 3%. Something like I don't know, 2 point something. It's really not that much. You shouldn't rely on it too much, but you can try to get out as many pogos, especially if you have double. Oh, if you think German, especially if you have double battle cry effects. So Pogo Hopper not only gets +2/+2, it gets +4/+4, and on triple it gets +8/+8 for every other Pogo Hopper you played this game, if you can double the battle cries. Shielded Mini Bot is one of my personal favorites in this section, because it's 4 damage combined to 2 other attacks, but it's Divine Shield, so it means same as with Harvest Golem, these attacks get out every time. This is super good. I like the Shielded Mini Bot. Yeah, that's basically it for tier 2. So Pogo Hopper, a Neutron, Shielded Mini Bot, Harvest Golem, all of them are good, and later Metal Tooth Leaper also super good. You can also just try to, you buy the Metal Tooth Leaper, and later you'll set them in when you have your mechs that you want to buff. You can also do that. Okay, so on to tier 3. On tier 3 we have 17 cards in total, and 5 of them are mechs, which averages 29.41% chance. Needed to write this down. And what are the interesting cards here? The interesting cards here are, you could say, basically everything besides Psychotron. Psychotron, it's not bad. I love Divine Shield, Taunt. It's super good. It's basically, you can say, Psychotron is an upgraded version of a Neutron, basically. But there are so many better choices here, which is Piloted Shredder. Because, as we pointed out, there are super many mechs in tier 2. And Piloted Shredder summons a random 2-cost minion, which means, yeah, we have a 50% chance that the Piloted Shredder gets us out a mech. And now you might say, oh, why do you want a mech that is not buffed? Something. Why do I want a Pogo Hopper? You get the chance of having a Kaboom Bot, or a Harvest Golem, or a Shielded Mini Bot to get out of Piloted Shredder. Plus there are other very nice tier 2 Death Rattle minions to just make the Piloted Shredder a very sticky minion, which is very good. This is by far, in my opinion, the strongest minion you can have in this section. Only my personal opinion. Replicating Menace is a super versatile card, because you can just buy this and stick it to one of your other minions without losing a spot on your board. It's basically, you can go for 7, 8, 9, 10 minions just by sticking one minion to other minions. Yeah, like, I don't know. Let's say you have your Annoyatron, yeah, and you don't get the Psychotron, but you get Replicating Menace. You get the Replicating Menace, you stick it to the Annoyatron. The Annoyatron is a 5/3 Death Rattle Taunt with summon 3 1/1 Microbots. Ugh! This is so much stats, guys. This is super, super good. And way better than the Psychotron, in my opinion. So Replicating Menace is, especially for later stages of the game, super good. Super, super good. You can also just think about buying him, waiting for him, then you get a mech that you really, really want to buff up, and then you go with that. It's also okay. Like Shielded Minibot, also okay. Or Security Rover if you want to go for that later, and so on and so on. You get the point. Okay. And last but not least, Cobalt Guardian is a very, very strong card. You might think like, okay, but I need to get a mech every time. Isn't that it? No. It's if you play a mech during your Tavern phase, the Divine Shield is permanent. So you can basically just say, if you have something like Replicating Menace, which is basically 3 1/1 Microbots, it is summon a mech. So it's like you get this to the very left, so it attacks with Divine Shield, then Replicating Menace. Replicating Menace dies, just as the free one version. And then Cobalt Guardian has another Divine Shield. So you can manipulate that a bit. This is very, very strong if you have the correct positioning. So positioning is everything there. Same goes with Harvest Golem, yeah? Like Cobalt Guardian, Harvest Golem, then Replicating Menace. You get the point, you can just stick that a lot of time. Okay, now on to tier 4. On tier 4, we have 5 mechs out of 14 cards total, which means an average chance of 35.71% chance to get a mech. And these mechs are really, really good. By the way, the percentage chances, you always have to multiply them by 4 to have the total average percentage chance to get one mech of one of the 4 choices. Yeah, so basically on 35 percentage chance, it's basically not possible that you don't get a mech. Don't think about this. You will probably get no mech because, if you're me, because this is something that always happens to me. Okay. So we have another magnetic card. As I say, magnetic cards are super good in this specific tribe because you can make every minion the nuts. Every minion. Okay, so then the Iron Sensei, at the end of your turn, give another friendly mech +2/+2. Basically a one-sided version of the Light Forged Enforcer that we come to later. We have the Junk Bot, which says whenever a friendly mech dies, gain +2/+2. This is very, very nice, trust me. Yeah, and Piloted Sky Golem, which can get you Piloted Shredder. No, which can get you no Piloted Shredder, which can get you, in theory, another Piloted Shredder. At least if I got that correct. And Security Rover, which is totally the nuts. So the tier 4 section of the mechs is, wow, it is really, really strong. So as I said, Annoy module is super, super good. You can also think about combining the Annoy module with, let's say, a very, very good Pogo Hopper that you got. Let's say, okay, I got a Pogo Hopper which is 10/10 now, and then I Annoy module it. It's a 12/14 with Divine Shield and Taunt. Super great. Yeah, Junkbot. This goes for if you want to have a lot of you come with lots of smaller mechs that come from death rattle effects. Then the Junkbot is super, super hard. You can basically easily stick this up to, I don't know, 40/40 if you have it as a triple version, because then it gets for every friendly mech +2/+2, +4/+4 when it dies. If you combine that with, I don't know, a Piloted Sky Golem and a replicating menace on the piloted sky golem, it's wow, a lot of mechs, trust me. Or security rover. Yeah, you go with security rover, you buff the security rover several times, and it's basically the same. So Junkbot is a card you can play around. Yeah, like if you can really manage to buff up the Junkbot to a very, very high stage, it's easily one of the hardest to kill minions in this matchup. Be careful of poisonous strategies here. Okay, then we have tier 5, which is basically, you could say, uninteresting. I think not. Which is one mech out of 13 cards, which averages 7.69% chance to get a mech, or specifically this mech, and it is the Mechano Egg. Why do I think this is not uninteresting? Because, first of all, it's 5 damage that you just soak. Second, because of the mech tribe, you can you can adapt these Annoyer modules or replicating menace to the Mechano Egg. Second, it synergizes with Cobalt Guardian and with Junkbot. Yeah, that's the next thing. And the 8/8 Robosaur is just strong. Don't get this wrong. Just because you can upgrade several minions very, very hard doesn't mean that your 8/8 Robosaur is immediately useless. No, it is not. It is just maybe bad against 1 out of 7 different strategies you face. But there will always be a strategy that you face and that is better against your strat. That's normal. That is Battlegrounds. That is auto battle system. That's how it works. Yeah, so don't be afraid to get into Mechano Egg and magnetic stuff to it. Yeah, so this is really, really good. But the problem is you ruin your pool when you get to tier 5. That is the point. Yeah. So this is, well, now I need a calculator because this is a somewhat annoying calculation, and I didn't do it because it just came to my mind now. If we go for tier 5, yeah, we have 12 plus 16 plus 17 plus 14 plus 13, which averages a total of 72 cards overall. And we have 2 plus 8 plus 5 plus 5 plus 1. It is 21 cards divided by 72. Gives you an average chance of 29.17% to get a mech in every card. Which is still okay. It's something like about 30%. And when you have 4 cards, that means, yeah, you have the option to almost always get a mech when you are tier 5. This gets better on tier 6 because there are less cards and you have a good option there to get there. Okay. I'm a bit confused on my spreadsheet now because I typed in something about 6 out of 7, 6 out of 9. What did I do wrong here? One moment. I messed up something. Yeah, I messed up something. On tier 6 we have Foe Reaper and Sneed's Old Shredder, which means 2 and not 6 minions out of 9 minions that are mechs, which averages 22.22% to get a mech on tier 6. And the Foe Reaper is interesting because, as we said, we can buff up cards. Yeah, and the Foe Reaper is basically a 3 attacks in 1. And the fact that you can upgrade him a lot of times, that you have the time for it in comparison to Hearthstone. When you played the Foe Reaper in regular Hearthstone and Goblins versus Gnomes, it was like, oh, I play the Foe Reaper gets killed, yeah, great, it did nothing. Here it is way different, because you play the Foe Reaper, you can Divine Shield it, you can upgrade its attack, its life pool, and then it attacks every time. That's why Foe Reaper is basically, you can say, one of your end game cards. Really good. And Sneed's Old Shredder is just you summon a random legendary minion, and this is really good because I like the legendary minions. Just to cover them up, we have Zap Sliwick, which is really good. I mean, this minion always attacks the enemy with the lowest attack, means this looks for stuff to kill. Then we have the Foe Reaper, which you can get out of the Sneed's Old Shredder. You get the synergy. We have Mexna, an insta-kill on a minion. The Boogie Monster, yeah, not that great. Mal'Ganis, always good because it's 9 attack. Even if you have no demons out there, this goes very well. You have Goldrin, which is basically one of the more useless cards for you. Same goes for Bran. Not if you get Baron Riven there and still have a few Death Rattle effects on board. And the Beast and Bolvar, where I think the Beast is really meh. Khadgar, if you have still Death Rattle effects that summon minions, super good. Shift Azaris is basically the worst card you can get because it just do 1/1. And then you have Old Merc Eye, and that's it. So yeah, I think the pool out of legendary minions that you can get is, just by looking at it, we can go into legendary minions later on in another video. It's basically more good cards than bad cards, and that's why I think Sneed's Old Shredder is worth to get. It's also worth to get it in triple version, because then it summons 2 legendary minions. Super good. That's basically it for the mechs themselves. As always, we'll go for synergy cards here. And as we saw, okay, we have Death Rattle effects, a lot of Death Rattle effects, or effects that buff this card up. So what could be good with it? In my opinion, Righteous Protector, Vulgar Homunculus are very good, and also the Selfless Hero. Direwolf Alpha, normally I would say, yeah, this is always good, because if you have 2 minions, this is natural synergy, and the Direwolf Alpha goes in with almost everything. If you have 2 other minions, you can always go with Direwolf Alpha. But it's not the natural synergy card you want to have here. Because if a Death Rattle minion, let's say we have a Mecharoo and the Direwolf Alpha. Yeah, then first the Mecharoo attacks, dies, spawns a Joey bot, then the Direwolf Alpha attacks, and the Joey bot won't profit from the Direwolf Alpha. You need to have another minion there to make use out of this. Yeah, and that's why Direwolf Alpha is... I don't see the highest value in Mech for him. So, that's basically it for tier 1. Vulgar Homunculus and Void Walker are also natural fits, because if you want to protect a Micro Machine, something like that. It's the same also with what I've said with Tidecaller. 2 health is not that much, especially at the start of the game. Later you can buff him with magnetic and stuff like that, but you need to get to that point. And if the Micro Machine just attacks once, and yeah, that's maybe not enough. That's the problem here. Okay, but I can see that, yeah, like you go with Micro Machine, and that's why Selfless Hero fits in way more. Selfless Hero, then the Micro Machine, and the Micro Machine can attack twice. Okay, so Mounted Raptor goes well as a synergy card, because it has Death Rattle, it has a good attack point, and it summons a random 1-cost minion, which can also be a Death Rattle minion. Amalgam, as I said, goes well with everybody. Also good goes Kindly Grandmother and Red Pack. Strangely, right? The point is just, these are Death Rattle effects that summon a lot of stuff. You want to have these as early game synergies, and sell these cards later for better or fitting mechs. That's basically the point. But they fit into the theme, into the playstyle of mech. Like Harvest Golem, summon a 2/1, summon a 3/2, summon 2/1/1, summon a random 1. And all these are death rattle effects that make your board sticky. Yeah, and that's why I also think if you want to go shared tribes, you want to go with Mech and Beast. This is super good, trust me. So, yeah, and then you can also better go with Zubot, which can buff a Beast. Yeah, you see, Zubot has no potential here. No. Spawn of N'Zoth is the same. You want to have fewer minions. You will have fewer minions at the start, and that's why Spawn of N'Zoth is not that good. Because you rely on your death rattle effects. So the +1/+1 on the fitting minions is not too much. On tier 3, same explanation as with tier 2. You can go for Imp Gang Boss, but it's, as I said, early game options, and if you have tier 3, you don't want to have early game synergies anymore. Katka fits super good into the death rattle mechanics, because you will summon so many minions, and Katka will always summon them twice for you, or 3 times, and that's why Katka is one of your main goals to have in your death rattle strategy cards. Then that's basically it, because taunt minions have +2 attack. You won't have too many taunt minions. That's why Phalanx Commander is not that good of a card. It goes better, I guess, into demon stuff, but that's completely another story. And Tortorian Shellraiser goes well with almost everything. That's why you can play him. It's also a death rattle card, fits in the death rattle theme, and it buffs a minion, and it soaks a bit of damage. That's okay. More interesting goes tier 4. And my first synergy card that I see here is Bolvar. The reason why I see Bolvar as a synergy card is, first of all, he survives 1 attack. Second, if you go for longer matches, you will have more and more mechs that profit from Divine Shield by, let's say, a Neue Module, by, let's say, I don't know, by having natural Divine Shield, like Psychotron, Cobalt Guardian, like Shielded Minibot, Neutron. You get the point. There are a lot of mechs that have Divine Shield on themselves. And that's why Bolvar is a fitting point just into this mech synergy if you have the correct if you have the correct Divine Shield taunt minions, because the taunt will save Bolvar from getting attacked. Maybe he will have his Divine Shield for a longer period of time, which would be very good. Like, he's the last one to be attacked at the first attack round, and then he has super high damage and can attack twice, which means 2 maybe guaranteed kills, something like that. This is very good. Yeah, then Festerroot Hulk is maybe not the best here, but the point is, if you have a lot of small minions that attack, Festerroot Hulk will be buffed more and more. That's the point here you can think about. And basically that's it for tier 5. The rest is also just more tribe synergy. And the Menagerie Magician and the Zubot don't let mechs profit from their buffs. So, tier 5, the natural fit is Baron Rivendare, the super important card. This goes the same as with Khadgar. So you have Rivendare, Khadgar, you can basically more or less rely on 1 or 2 cards. Point, that's it. That's super good. Lightfang Enforcer, one of the only cards besides the Iron Sensei that also buffs mechs. but you need to see it for yourself. Do you really want to have a minion that only buffs one minion? Nah, you maybe want to go with shared tribes there again to just have something about that. And that's basically it again. You see, the synergies is not that high for mechs because the mechs synergize so well in themselves. That's a point why you don't need to have so many outside synergy cards. On tier 6 we have, funnily, more synergy cards in percentage than on the other tiers. Ghast Coiler, which says summon 2 random Death Rattle minions. As we pointed out, we want to have Death Rattle minions, and then we can just go also for random Death Rattle minions, even if there are no mechs. The even better fit here is Kangor's Apprentice, which says Death Rattle summon the first 2 friendly mechs that died this combat, and you can just make this up to first 4 friendly mechs that died this combat. And just imagine you have the Mechanoag, you have Piloted Sky Golem, you have Sneed's Old Shredder, and Foe Reaper. And then Kangor's Apprentice dies, boom, these all come back. Okay, that's good, right? That's super good. Yeah. So having the big stuff alongside with Kangor's Apprentice is basically your late game option. Your late game option. Yeah. And I wouldn't say Voidlord fits too much into this because the mechs want to die and then they want to get their effects out. And that's maybe why Voidlord isn't that much of a deal here. Okay, guys, that's it for the minions. Now we'll get to the heroes. And as always, I will have a small variety of heroes because it depends on your playstyle what you want to go with. The first card I had in mind, the first hero I had in mind here was the Bartendertron, because he reduces the cost of tavern tiers by 1. He fits naturally better into way other decks that go even more into late game, and you go more into a very, very mid-rangey game style. But it reduces the cost of tavern tiers by 1, means you will go easily to tier 5 with this, which allows you to get maybe into the late game with the Kangor's Apprentice, but also you can have the Mechanoag, and the Mechanoag, as I said, is really, really, really good. So the next hero I have in mind is, as always, George the Fallen, but George the Fallen doesn't have as high synergy as usually because the Divine Shield also always keep this in mind. If you go for Death Rattle stats, you don't want to go with George because you want the minions to die and get their effects out, or maybe you want just to protect one specific minion. That's why you can also go for George. But yeah, I would rate him more in the lower section here of our wanted heroes. One of our, there it is, of our best cards, best heroes to get is Maleficent Manastorm, because she says Max and Bob's Tavern have +1/+1, which lets you survive the early game so much easier. And because of that, it is just no problem to get into the higher ranks again, as with all of the other stuff you would do. Like Bartendertron is worse than Maleficent because she helps you with the same problem that Bartendertron helps you with, just better. Yeah. So by now I think Maleficent, because she's all about mechs, she's basically your want to go choice. Patches is another way to survive the early game, to not lose too much HP there. Same goes with Ragnaros. I think you can here better go with Ragnaros, because with the Murlocs you need to shovel a lot, And with Ragnaros, no, with the mechs you don't need to shuffle so much because you have a lot of choices for your mechs. And basically I would go with the flow to see, okay, this mech's here, I want maybe to get them, maybe re-roll just once and then look what mechs I would get. And so you will probably have 2 gold to spend as you will have to have, you will need, no, you will have this gold available to spend on your hero power. Sorry. Then, as always with tribes, patches, the curator always goes in. It's a natural fit. Why didn't I go with Pyramid? Because it gives random friendly minion +2 health. You want your minions to die to get the death rattle effects out. That's basically why Pyramid is not on my list here. My personal favorite of all of these is the Lich King. The reason is, at the start of next combat, give your rightmost minion reborn. The reborn stuff means you get a death rattle minion. You let the death rattle minion die. The death rattle minion pops its death rattle effect. Then the minion comes back with 1 HP and you get a second death rattle effect out of this minion. This is really, really nice. And that's why the Lich King, in my opinion, is always the best choice if you want to go with death rattle effects, which mechs have a lot of. Shudder Walk is a special synergy card here, because if you go with the intention, if you start a match with the intention to go Pogo Hopper, you want to go with Shadow Walk. But only then you want to go with that, because I think Shadow Walk won't be good enough for the 1 or 2 specific battle cry effects, because you need to get them out. That's the point, yeah? Okay. Some other stuff like Queen Whack Toggle, because she buffs a mech, but here it's just maybe 1 or 2 health. That is not that good. Then the Red King, because Red King can also buff your mechs. The 2 interesting points here are, in my opinion, Trade Prince Gallywix, because you can add gold coin to your hand. Means you get faster to the upper tiers. You can save your gold if you just don't have anything to spend there. Whoop. Oh, sorry. That wasn't intended. And you can have more control over the later stages of the game, because you can spend more gold when you get to the tier that you want, like tier 3. If you say, okay, tier 3 is my goal, I go for 2-3 times Trade Prince Gallywix, I up my tavern very fast, and then I maybe still have gold to spend. That's the idea behind this. And Yogg-Saron is my my special friend here. The reason is, usually I think Yogg-Saron is a lot of gambling, because you just hire a random minion in your tavern and give it +1/+1. It's basically like Trade Prince Gallywix, just like in another term. But if you get to tier 2, not tier 3, if you get to tier 2 very fast, you can just save 1 gold all of the time and still get a mech. The averages of getting a mech are too high on on tier 2. What was it? I said 10 out of 28, which is more than 30% per minion, and you get 4 minions. The choice is really, really good here. And that's why you can go with Yogg-Saron. Maybe something that you can keep in mind, as I said, I'm not sold on this. It's Lich Basial, because you can just generate additional value, but the problem is you will pay about 3 or 4 times until you get what you need. That's it, basically. Though I can see the value in Lich, because. Okay, that's basically it to wrap up this video. As all the same as I did earlier. Mechs are versatile. You can go with Divine Shields, you can go with Death Rattles, which Death Rattle is your main source in my opinion. And you have a few synergy cards, but only really just a few, because mechs synergize so well in each other. And you will try to annoy your opponent with lots of sticky stuff. That is basically the point, you can say. Lots of sticky stuff. Either lots of stats from Pogo Hopper, or lots of mechs that spawn from your mechs, or lots of double attacks your opponent has to do into your minions to attack them. So basically, if you have a mech, you don't just have a mech, you have mostly of the time 2 or 3 mechs in one mech, and that's what makes the mech. Yeah, I say this type of tribe is something about not early, but mid-game to late mid-game. So this goes later than the Murlocs, but earlier than the Demons, and fits naturally into a double tribe with Beasts, because Beasts also have lots of Death Rattle effects. That's it for today. I hope you liked this video. I hope you can have some information that helps you out here with the mechs. We will see us the next time when I cover up the Demons, the late game section of Hearthstone Battlegrounds. Until then, have a nice day, everybody. Stay tuned. Bye bye.